Hello! How are you all doing today?
Hi!
It's our last Lenten Mentor Devotion.
Yes.
Cheers.
So
Cheers.
exciting.
And we have two special guests today. Well, I suppose you're not really a guest anymore because you've been on this almost as much as me.
A couple times.
So you're the co-host. We have a co-host and a guest.
I like being co-host.
And our guest today is Bubba Bear. Bubba, where are you from? He's sleeping. He always does this. It makes me so mad. Okay.
Yeah.
Hang in there, big guy. So Bubba, in case you all don't know, he goes with us on all of our trips during the summer. He's been to Idaho. He's been to Houston, Texas. He's hiked up Harney Peak in South Dakota. And this summer, he'll be coming with us to Chicago and the Apostle Islands. And so if you want to go with Bubba, you should check those out. It's going to be wicked awesome.
Very well traveled, Bubba.
He is. He's a world traveling bear. So I think let's just dive into the serious stuff. Marvel Endgame is coming out soon. Are you excited about it, or?
Okay, so I have to tell you, and this lets down all my friends who are fans of the superhero movies.
Uh-oh.
I started out as a big superhero movie fan.
I don't like where this is going.
I know.
Oh, no.
And then Captain America Civil War came out. And I was so upset.
What about it upset you?
They were fighting each other.
Typical pastor response. So, before Civil War ruined your superhero loves, what was your favorite superhero power?
Oh, see, that's hard though. I mean, I have favorite superheroes, but of the powers, I mean, that's like asking me to choose a favorite book, a favorite movie. That's just, but honestly, if I had to choose, Falcon's wings, like that ability to fly. Not just like Superman's ability to fly, but we're actually like wings here, you know? That.
There you go. Bubba, how about you? Hibernation? Well, you can already do that. He just making me mad. So that's your favorite superhero power. Is that also what power you would want? Like if you could have any power?
Yes.
Yes.
Although I gotta be honest, everything Wonder Woman does. I mean, just everything. Like
the gauntlets.
Everything.
Yeah, I'd want the gauntlets.
I cannot wait till the second one.
I didn't even know they were making a second one. Oh my gosh.
It's so exciting.
It's a good year for superheroes. So super excited about that. And would you mind explaining a little bit of what the collar means and what the collar is for those of us that maybe don't know?
So the collar is just kind of interesting. It's just a bit of an old tradition that comes from when pastors used to wear what was fashionable. It was a cravat. They called it a cravat, the big fluffy white thing that men would wear at their throat. And slowly it went down to the square. Now you'll see some pastors wear the full white collar. At one point in time, and it's not really this way anymore, what collar you wore would indicate what kind of pastor or priest you were.
Today is the end, we're wrapping up our Lenten devotionals. And so we're going to be spending some time reflecting on Lent. And I understand you had a Lenten practice.
I did.
Would you mind sharing a little bit about what you did for Lent with everybody?
Sure thing. So you'll notice I've got it on today. Every day that I work, so Sunday through Thursday and often Saturdays, I have on my collar. And if I'm doing anything on Fridays for St. Andrews, I have on my collar. And once I put on my collar for the day, it doesn't come off. The rule is that it doesn't come off until I'm at home and I'm not leaving again. So if I'm going out with friends after work, going to just work at a coffee shop after work, anything like that, I leave it on. And I had a professor tell me once, you'll never know what kind of conversations you'll enter into when you wear your collar. And so she encouraged me to wear it as much as possible. And I have had some fascinating conversations with people, and it's been really lovely what it's opened up.
So it's kind of like if Superman was wearing the Superman cape everywhere during the day, it would get into a lot of different conversations.
Probably, I imagine so, yep.
It's a way of indicating your love for God, your love for the church, and yeah, that would spark some interesting conversations.
Yes, some very good conversations, some very hard conversations, but all wonderful, all blessed.
And what are we talking about tonight during worship?
All right, so tonight, a very familiar story for those of you who may have grown up in the church and done Sunday school. We're talking about Moses, we're talking about Pharaoh, and we're talking about the plagues of Egypt.
Ooh.
But specifically, the last plague. And this is the hardest one, I think, for all of us to take in. And it's the death of the Egyptian firstborn. And you might have heard it termed the angel of death in Egypt. That's what we're going to be working with. So some really hard areas for us to move into in our scripture, but important to talk about.
So I got a question. It's not a trick question. I just want to know if I'm safe, right? So I am the firstborn in my family. I was around before either of my brothers.
Goodness.
But my older brother was adopted after I was born. Where would I?
It was just the firstborn.
Oh, no, so that would be me. That would. Okay, well, I got some planning to do
Yes.
Can you give us a little bit about what happens in this story?
So, as you may or may not know, there are 10 plagues of Egypt, right? So the first 9 have come and gone. The 9th plague is a plague of darkness. Darkness falls over Egypt for 3 days. And this is really interesting because it kind of takes us back to what we just talked about this past week of creation, right? There was darkness over the earth and God brings light. And so we move into this 9th plague, and God has this moment with Moses. It's almost like a step-aside moment where God tells Moses what is about to happen. Moses goes to Pharaoh, tells Pharaoh, and Moses gets very angry. And you can see Moses with the people at this point. He's so angry at what is happening here in this space, the damage that's being done to the Egyptians. We're told that the Egyptians hold Moses in high regard, which is very interesting. So it's this great setup between Pharaoh, who is a god to the Egyptians, and God, capital G. So the battle of gods, if you will. So talking about superheroes and superhero powers, right? But what comes out of that is weeping across all of Egypt, wailing throughout all of Egypt. And yet, how do we look at God moving in that space? And I would say that for God, of course, death is not the end. God sees death very differently than we do because God sees both sides of death.
This, I feel like, is going to be a very powerful night with very rich conversations.
Yes.
And so I'm excited to see what comes of tonight between mentors and mentees, and then also in worship itself. So thank you so much. And also, hats off to you for having such a serious topic next to this ridiculous bear over here.
His superpower appears to be the power of silence.
Yeah, he's good at that. Well, he's a bit of a talker, but maybe it's just me that hears him. All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you around. Have a good Holy Week.
See you soon.